Oh, lovely. This is Lynn, the Silver Goddess Tarot. I am today with an interesting thought. Earlier, I was watching a video by Dana, who runs The Magic of Somatic Money, and I'll put a link in about her to her channel below. And she said something about her family, generations past, and how they've always been told to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And being the age that I am, that statement was very prominent in my life. It's not the nicest statement to hear, right? It's a little painful, especially if you're the type of person who's very empathetic and empathic. To hear that is a no, but it also implies that you're just being lazy. But the bigger message here is there's a lot of expectations that people are successful on their own, and that doesn't happen. We are not successful on our own. It takes a village to be successful. And when I hear about people who are self made millionaires, no, they're not. No, they're not. Somebody helped them along the way. Somebody mentored them, somebody taught them, somebody helped them develop their skills. Oh, I was just swallowed wrong. Nope, thought I had it. I don't. Right, you can laugh about that. I think I got it. That was swallowed wrong moment. All right. So anyway, so the point is that nobody gets to where they are without other people supporting them. Somebody has lifted them along their life path. And that leads me to say, to reflect on all the people who have helped me in my life. And so I want to tell a story. Um, when I was at university, one of the most difficult instructors, and every single student had to take him. We didn't have a choice. There was no getting around. He was the only one who taught the class. He was well known in our small university for failing students. Well known. He made a lot of money for the university for people retaking that class. So when it came time for me to take a board exam, and yes, that's kind of giving you a hint that my background is in the medical field. Um, Afterwards, I saw him in the hallway and I stopped him and I thanked him for being a hard teacher. And right at that moment, I mean, he was very gracious about it. He smiled and said, "You're very welcome." And I said, "Thank you," because that was my best score on that set of board exams. And at the same time, somebody else was walking down the hallway and heard me thanking him and just rolled his eyes at the thought that this particular instructor was being thanked for being super hard on the students. And I thought to myself, you're going to find out that he's setting you up for success. Doesn't make being in the midst of that any easier, but he's still setting us up. He still set us up for success. And to this day, 25 years later, Of all the subjects that I've taken, that one is probably still my strongest because I studied for it the most. And yet, when I think about that in relation to the pull yourself up by the bootstraps, he was hard. I didn't sleep a whole lot during those classes. Um, yeah, 4 hours a night was a good night's sleep in those days. Thank God I was young and could do that because it's not true anymore. But anyway, my point to all of this is he held us to a really high standard, and students either met that standard or they failed out of the university. And there, like I said, there was no other option. You could go to a different university for the same degree, but you still had to take that kind of content. That class was a required no matter the university. Now, he didn't teach at all those other universities, but he did teach at the one that I went to. And the reality is that it was a really hard program no matter which university you went to. So to tie that into the message of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, it's the idea that we get to where we are on our own. I didn't get to where I am on my own. I had other students. We created groups of to study different topics, and somebody would take the lead and other people would ask questions. I mean, it was really grueling and brutal and worth it. It was worth it. And grueling and brutal. um, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that this instructor, by his actions, basically said, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Another way of saying that, which a lot of younger generations say now, and I've said it, not proud of it, but I've said it, is suck it up, buttercup. The message is you need to figure this out. If you want this, you have to figure it out. And it's not a nice way of giving that message. But the world is full of empaths now. I'm here, you're here, we're all here. The world is full of empathic people. And so we're a bit more sensitive to that negative energy. And we're trying to cleanse it and be a kinder, gentler world. So this particular reading and video is going to focus on having been told that in a way that is really difficult and what you got from it. So now that I've talked about the storytelling part, I want you in your I spy in my little eye. I want you to think about a time in your life where somebody said to you, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, or suck it up, buttercup, or no, I am not going to help you. Do it on your own. However, they said it to you, I want you to think about that moment. And I want you to just sit in it, viewing it like it's a movie. How did that make you feel in that moment? Did you feel fear? I sure did. With that instructor, I felt a lot of fear. He was in the second semester of my program, and he was well known and discussed quite a lot when we were in our first semester of our program. So not only did I have the stress of all the classes that we took in our first semester, we were also worried about what was coming in second semester. So we were all living in fear. I don't know how anybody walked down the hallway of that university because it like a cesspool of fear. And yet a great deal of good came out of that class and the friends that I made and the education that I got. And let me tell you, having grown up really poor, really poor, just the fact that I got an education is amazing. And oh, by the way, these are fake. These, that's fake. Just, just reminder, it's fake. Some things look nicer than they really are. This is fake. This is QVC. That's QVC. Okay. So I make it look good. It's all for fake, but not the psychic ability and not the empathy and not the empathic and not the ability to read cards. But the hair and the background and the rings, those are fake. All right. So anyway, I'll get back to it. Um, so when you think about that moment when somebody said something, no, I'm not going to help you. You need to figure this out on your own. How did that make you feel in that moment? And then next, I want you to think about how that impacted your life. Did it impact your life for the better or not so great? Did you take that as a challenge that you have the possibility of doing this, of figuring it out on your own? Or did you take that as a, I don't believe in you, let it go and walk away? Clearly, I took that really hard class and that really hard education as a challenge. I knew I could do it. I don't know where I knew I could do it. I don't know where that came from. My mom was a huge supporter of me. Other family members, not so much. But my mom was always, always in my corner. Pausing for a moment. Okay. Now that I've composed myself a little bit. Anyway, my mom was always in my corner and she always had faith in me and she always knew that I could accomplish whatever I set my mind to doing. And she was right. Everything I have ever set my mind to accomplishing, I have done. Usually better than most other people because I'm very driven like that. Um, and it's one of those, it is that sense of knowing that somebody believes in you. That is part of that social support that every single person needs. So now that I've asked you to think about when that has happened to you and how you felt in the moment, I want you to think about who has been that social support for you. Could you move on, sir? Could you go? Thank you. Hershey's here. And And then I want you to think about how that moment of seemingly negativity, what positivity came from that? I have said many a time that I believe in every dark cloud there is a silver lining. What was a silver lining for you? If you could go back and change something about that event or those events, what would you change? And if that change were made, how do you think the outcome would have changed? So, on that note, I want to do a reading. I'm going to pause because UPS is here and the dog's going to go nuts. Okay, so I used the Oracle of the Phoenix deck. I'm going to take myself off view so that you can see these better. I used the Oracle of the Phoenix deck, and it is by Christine Arana Fader and illustrated by Elena Dudina. And the first card is the power of empathy. And the second card that I pulled is the Pegasus of water. Anything is powerful. Anything is possible. And this comes with a book. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading from it, not a lot. In terms of the power of empathy card, this card reminds you that as a highly sensitive and empathic person, you are in possession of an extraordinary power. This card brings you wisdom. As a highly sensitive and empathetic person, your tears influence the destiny of all humanity. If you see images of war or of people or animals being mistreated, you are overwhelmed by powerful emotions. You may think that to be so affected by the suffering of others is a disadvantage, but it is your tears that help to prevent this world from sinking into war and chaos. While human history has been characterized by violence, those who are highly sensitive and empathetic have guided us away from disaster with the magic of their emotions. Being highly sensitive and empathetic is not a disadvantage, it is a destiny, a duty. You are serving the needs of the world, and the spirit world bows before you. And then the water, the Pegasus of water, of anything is possible. I'm going to take you through a very quick exercise. I'm calling it a 2-minute micro meditation. So if you're in a place where you can just close your eyes and sit comfortably where you're going to be free from any kind of disturbance, please do that. And take a deep breath in and exhale. And release all the tension in your body. Breathe in again. And exhale. Feeling your body relax more and more. And now I want you to focus on the Pegasus of water. Know that she washes away the negativity of the event that you were thinking of earlier. It allows you to see and live fully in the positivity and strength around empathy, of being kind to yourself and being kind to others. Know that anything is possible, and know that you deserve all the beauty and abundance life has to offer. And the Pegasus of water clears the path, removing the negativity from the past, clearing the path for the positivity of what you learned from that event to lead in your life. And now I want you to come back fully awake, fully aware of your surroundings. And I hope that this helps to clear out some of the negativity of the words that have been said to you. Yes, you need to know that you can do the hard things in life, but you also need to know that somebody will be there to help you, to give you a little bit of a lift. My mom, who always had my back, she always had something good to say about whatever I was doing. She did not have the money to pay for my education, that it was all on student loans. What she did do, though, was she would bring over leftovers so that I could have a meal that I didn't have to prepare. She would come over and she would help clean my home when she knew that I was studying and studying and studying. She would spend time with my cat when I was studying and studying and studying. Um, it's good to have somebody in your corner. And I hope that you do have somebody in your corner like that. And on that note, I'm going to call this video done. I want to remind you that you are made of stardust and magic. Magic. And in this moment, I'm holding up that anything is possible card here because I believe in you. I know that hard things can happen. That's why we're here. You are far more powerful than you realize, and you are profoundly loved. And on that, I wish you bright blessings. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye now.